Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do here is open my file system, and I want to create a new folder here for Angular training. I'll name the folder Angular Training, but you can use any name that you want to. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and open up Visual Studio Code. And the first thing I want to do is install the Angular CLI, or the Angular Command Line Interface. So I'll open up a new terminal window. This install process will take a bit, and depending on your network speed, it could go fast or it could go slow. But at this point, I have this installed and it's ready to go. And I'll verify the installation by doing an ng version. Alrighty, this looks good. It tells me the version of the Angular CLI tool that's installed. I can also get some information on the help system here. So I'll simply give ng help. And this is all very good information in case you need to get additional help as you're going through using this tool. Alrighty, so now I want to go through and actually create a new Angular project. And so I'll use that command ng new, and I give the name of my project. So I'll call it my first Angular project. And I'll accept the defaults here for the prompts. So for routing, I'll say no. And then for the style sheet format, I'll choose CSS. And it'll go off and it'll create all of these files here that we discussed in the previous video. And you can safely ignore the warning messages. And so this will take a while, so I'll go ahead and speed up the video. So at the end, it'll actually have your project created, everything set up and ready to go. I can see that it created a new directory for me, my first Angular project. So that's the name of our project here. I can move into that directory. And then I can also expand the folders over here on the left-hand side, and I can see that, hey, it created all of these files for me. So these are some of the files that you saw in the previous video. So let's go ahead and run our application. So remember, we can run the app by using that ng-serve. And so in the background, this ng-serve command will start performing its magic. And remember, behind the scenes, it builds the app doing the compile, transpile. It'll start the server, watches the source files. It'll rebuild the app when the source is updated, giving you a hot reload. So very nice feature here. So we can see at the bottom here that the server is up and running and listening on port 4200. That's the default port. So I can go ahead and swing to a web browser and open up localhost 4200. And there's my application. So they give you a lot of stock information up front, but next to the little rocket here, you can see that the name of your project, My First Angular Project app, is up and running. Cool. And also some really good links to resources here for learning Angular, CLI, blog, and so forth. And also some next steps for as far as new components and so on. This page changes a lot depending on the version of Angular that you're using. So each version, they add new features and functionality. So what you see may be slightly different than what we have here because a new version of Angular is released every 3 months. Alrighty, so that's up and running. Let's go ahead and move back to our IDE. Let's go ahead and edit the HTML template file. So I'll zoom in here on the left-hand side and I'll go to the source directory. I'll move into app and I'll open up this app component.html. So there's a lot of information that you'll see here, a lot of placeholder content that you'll see here. But let's go ahead and look for this one section of text. So let's go ahead and do a search for is running. Okay, great. So that's where we saw that little piece where it says, hey, our project title app is running. So I'll add some additional text here. I'll say, yes, yes, success. Just so I know that, hey, this is something that I modified, that I edited. And then if I save this file, the recent changes are automatically reloaded because remember, the server is actually watching the source files. And if I move back to the browser, I'll see the updated page. And notice here, the page is automatically refreshed by Angular. There's no need for you to hit the refresh button. The page will automatically update, which is kind of cool. Alrighty, so let's swing back over to our IDE. And I want to cut this line of code and delete everything else, and then we'll paste that one line. I wanted to get rid of all the additional fluff in that given page. Alrighty, so I've saved this, and now let me swing back over to my actual browser again and see the new version. And so now I got rid of all of the fluff and I only see my one message, which is great. And this is kind of what I'll do for the remainder of the videos. Okay, so this looks great. So we're able to create a new Angular project and get it up and running and play around with it a bit. So I'd like to say, good job.